Welfare. It's a contentious issue. Do we spend too much or do we not spend enough? Indeed, is there a third option? Do we spend the right amount but spend it on the wrong people? Well, we dived into that debate here at GB News. Throughout this week, we're looking at what the government is doing. My name's Tom Harwood and this is GBN Originals. Now, today on GB News, we had a fearsome debate over whether or not the government is right or wrong, not just in its particulars, but in its whole approach towards welfare. The government has announced £5 billion of cuts to the disability welfare spend of this country. But of course, this is in the context of a huge rise in spending. By some estimates, we could be seeing up to £100 billion being spent on disability benefits in the next few years. That would be almost doubling the amount that we currently spend on disability benefits, and it would eclipse by almost twice the entire amount of money we spend on defence. Is this sustainable? But crucially, is the decision of the government to restrict the eligibility criteria for personal independence payments and all the other different decisions that they have made, have they taken the right approach in terms of how to keep this bill down, or indeed stop it rising quite so quickly? Well, we spoke to two individuals who have quite different opinions on this matter today on GB News. Well, it was a big moment of debate in the House of Commons, the question over the veracity of and the desirability of Labour's reform to the welfare state. But why don't we extend that debate now? Joining us is the Communications Manager at the Institute of Economic Affairs, Reem Ibrahim, and the creator of Turn Left Media, Curtis Daly. Reem, we're going to start with you. What do you make of the government's war on welfare?
I think it's absolutely tragic that millions of people across the country are being consigned to a lifetime of worklessness. There are thousands of people that are my age, they're in their early 20s, that are being told at such a young age that forever that they are not able to work and that they're going to be consigned to that lifetime of worklessness. There was a really interesting report by NHS Confederation and Boston Consulting Group that found that between 2021 and 2022, 63,000 people went from being economically inactive because they were students to then being economically inactive because they were signed off on long-term sickness benefits. Now, the reason why I think this is so tragic is because A, we are all paying the highest taxes since the Second World War. We are spending huge amounts of money on people that could be working that aren't. But really the fundamental point here is that this is a waste of human potential. There are millions of people across the country that absolutely could be working, that could be contributing, that could be doing something with their lives, and yet the system has incentivized them not to. Now, I don't think that all of these people are lazy. I think it's basic incentives. If you're being told by the state, we know that you are depressed or you have anxiety, but you know what? We won't let you work. You can just stay at home. It's going to make their mental illnesses so much worse. And it's a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you're being told that, it's going to make you worse in terms of your own mental illness. And it means that so many people are just being trapped in this welfare system and unable to work. Now, I think that is the real tragedy.
OK, Reem, let's turn to Curtis Daly. Curtis, are you comfortable with the number of people who are currently languishing on welfare?
Well, I reject your framing of the question. And what Reem said is completely untrue. PIP has a 0% fraud rate, personal independent payments, 0%. Now, a woman named Georgia...
How do you know that, Curtis? Curtis, how do you know that? How do you know that?
Let me finish. I'll let you speak.
No, I need the evidence to back up that claim, because that is a bold claim, Curtis.
A woman named Georgina who has MS, she went on the BBC and explained she will lose £200 per month. Now, let's look at the details of the policy, because there's facts that I care about here.
Curtis, so do I. Where's the evidence that there is a 0% fraud?
Do not interrupt me, because I've not interrupted you. Labour have introduced a score method to see if people are eligible for PIP. One of the examples is bathing. So you need to score 4 points in order to be eligible for PIP. There is an entire document of these questions for applicants. Those who need aid or appliance or supervision, physical assistance with their hair or body below the waist, and assistance to be able to get in and out of the bath or shower wouldn't score a 4, which is one of the thresholds. Now, why are we debating about benefit cuts? We could be doing what Norway did, is introduce a 1.1% wealth tax. And 2022, when they did that,
Curtis, you know full well the wealthy already pay huge amounts in taxes. You know full well that's the case. Fundamentally, can I just say, on this point about...
Let's not speak over each other. Let's not speak over each other.
We're talking about unearned wealth. You're talking about income. Now, we could be... Look, we had a global pandemic, right? There was a huge lockdown. And guess what? The government spent billions of pounds, and it should have done on things like furlough. However, the very richest, not talking about people who do well, I'm talking about the billionaire class, they doubled their wealth while we made sacrifices. It's their turn to start paying back. If you
Curtis, they already pay huge amounts of money in tax.
Curtis, let's go to Reem. Curtis, you've said a lot. Let's go to Reem now on that.
Curtis, we already, the top wealthy, top 1% already pay about a quarter of the total income that the Treasury receive. So ultimately, they're already spending huge amounts of money. I would say, by the way, forget about the money in this situation, although I think it's really important. Do you think that any system that classifies a quarter of the working population as disabled is working? How do you think it's okay for millions of people in their 20s to be told, if you have depression or anxiety, you are unable to work and then not be receiving that kind of support? Is that system fair?
Do you think it's fair that people with MS will lose £200 a month? And those examples I gave you, because I'm not talking about broad rhetoric here or hyperbole. I went through
it's
the
not rhetoric. 3 million people. It's the stats. It's the facts. 3 million people.
Those who can't get in and out of the shower without supervision could potentially see a cut. Are you happy about that? To be honest,
you're talking about the potentials here. Those particular people that need it will not.
The point you have this view because you work for the IEA and we don't know who funds them. I suspect it's the oil industry, it's the private insurance companies.
Right. So do you want to respond to my actual arguments rather than accusing me of something?
Who funds you then? Because you never tell us. Like I said, it's time for the very wealthiest to give back, but we're having a debate on who's...
Curtis, we're talking about people being consigned to a lifetime of worklessness, and you're saying you're perfectly fine with that. You're perfectly fine with millions of people across the country being consigned to a lifetime of doing nothing. I think that is a tragedy. I think it is disgusting.
You've absolutely made it up. You pulled that out of nowhere. I'm talking about the policy.
2.8 million people.
I've literally gone through the policy document, right? People are going to lose money when they should be getting PIP. So are you happy that because you think there's this amount of people who are pretending to sponge off the welfare state that we should be attacking people?
I absolutely, can I just say, I have not said that any of those people are sponging off of the welfare state. I think they're probably, let me finish, because you're putting words into my mouth. There probably are people that are lazy, that aren't working, but I think the majority of people that are on long-term sickness benefits are genuinely ill. They have mental illnesses. They might be depressed. They might be anxious. But where is the evidence that the best thing for those people is to be consigned to a lifetime of idleness? There is no evidence for that. Work gives you structure. It gives you purpose in your life. Why do we support a system? Why do you support a system? Let me finish my point. Why do you support a system? Curtis, we can't just talk over each other.
You did it to me, so I let you finish first, and you done it to me, so I'm now doing it to you back. There are jobs out there, precarious work, low paid, and you're telling me work makes you happy when you go and work for Amazon for 16-hour days. It's very easy to sit in a studio and say that. Now, I'm not saying
there are 800,000 vacancies in the hospitality and retail sector.
There are more people on welfare than there are job applications. There aren't enough jobs out there. What I'm trying to tell you is
800,000 vacancies, Curtis.
I don't want people to be consigned to being on benefits their entire life, but we're talking about people.
But the system you support does.
So if you want to condemning the government that they're attacking the very poorest in society rather than looking at the very wealthy, I would welcome that. That if you
Curtis, may I just ask you one question before we leave this? How many billionaires do you think are in the United Kingdom?
What's the relevance of how many billionaires?
Because you're talking about how the billionaire class, you spoke about the billionaire class need to be taxed more to pay for the welfare state. How many billionaires do you think are in the United Kingdom?
We need to be.
And don't Google it. How many? Because there are 165 as of last year, down from 177 the year before. Yeah. So I'm just questioning whether the billionaire class will be able to pay for everything you want, Curtis.
I'm trying to tell you, we need to be going not for income taxes. We should be taxing wealth, not work. I'm talking about.
And then the next year there'll be less wealth tax. Curtis Daly, thank you very much indeed. And Reem Ibrahim, a very spirited debate. I'm sure our viewers will take points from both of you. Thank you very much indeed.
We'll have to have them both back. I mean, that was cracking.
Well, there you go. There's a proper left-right debate for you guys.
Quite the punchy bust up. Whose side were you on? Or perhaps is there another way through? Is it necessary to cut the ballooning benefit bill? Or are we simply all getting sicker as a society? Is this money necessarily going to be spent? Or is it too easy to cheat the system? Do get involved in the comments section below. And of course, remember to stay subscribed to the GB News YouTube channel for more content like this.